Here we're asked to write an equation for the graph below. Just so you know, these questions are actually really good because they are kind of highlighting the important, bigger questions that we're going to need as we go forward. So this one here is talking about sine and cosine graphs. So writing an equation from the graph below. A couple things I need to know about this one to start. I'm going to start here at, 0 as like we're not shifting left or right at all. So really I have like no h value, or h is equal to 0. The other thing is that if I'm starting at 0 or x equals 0, then I'm starting at the midline, meaning it's going to be a sine graph that I'm talking about here. The other thing is that when we are dealing with this, the midline here looks like it's going to be at -2, which I'm going to subtract at the end there. Along with the amplitude is going to be 1, 2, and 3, because I'm going 3 up from the midline and then 1, 2, 3 down from the midline to get to the maximum and minimum. I'm going to keep it positive because this sine function goes up first, like it's going up first and then down as opposed to reverse. And the last thing is that the period, or where it starts repeating, is 2 pi. And we say 2 pi over the period equals our b value. And since our period is 2 pi, well, 2 pi divided by 2 pi is just 1. So I could put a 1 in here for the b value, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave it. So my final equation for this graph is f of x equals 3 sine of x minus 2. Next, it tells me to graph 2 cycles of this cosine graph. So it's going to be cosine and it's going to be negative. That's important to know that I'm going to start at the bottom or the minimum and go all the way up to the top and then back to the bottom. And we're going to graph 2 cycles, which means I'm going to do that on repeat. So in the end, I should have a graph that kind of looks like this here. So from there, I got my midline at +1. So I'm going to make a little dashed mark here at +1. I have the amplitude of 2. So I'm going to go up 2 and down 2 to give me my minimum and maximum. In this case here, same as the last one, has a b value of 1. So that means that the period here is going to be 2 pi. And if I'm graphing 2 cycles, then I'm going to go up to 4 pi here. So from there, starting at the minimum, ending at the minimum, the halfway point is going to bring me to the maximum on both of these. And the halfway point between those is going to be at the midline. I'm going to now mark these here. So halfway between 0 and 2 pi is just pi. Let's do it down here. Then halfway between 0 and pi is pi over 2. So that means that each time I'm going up pi over 2. So pi over 2, 2 pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, 4 pi over 2, which is 2 pi, 5 pi over 2 here, 6 pi over 2, which is the same as 3 pi, 7 pi over 2, and then 8 pi over 2, which is just 4 pi. So from there, it's getting a little messy here, but I'm going to go ahead and sketch my graph. There's my first cycle, and there's my second cycle. Last one here says the C is write the equation of your graph in part B as a transformation of the sine function. So a sine function has to start at the midline. So really, I'm just going to take the exact same equation here. So y equals 2 sine of x minus pi over 2 plus 1. So midline stays the same. It's still 1. The amplitude stays the same. It's still going up 2 and down 2. I'm going to call it a positive sine function because I'm going up first. And then I have to have this phase shift as we shift it to the right. So I'm going to subtract pi over 2 so that I start there as opposed to starting at 0. So here is my final equation.